start me at just around £20,000 to get started. £20,000.
Welcome to our first video blog. Today I'm going to be talking about the 10 golden rules as I see them for buying a property at auction.
Now 21, can I see it? I've got 20 days seated towards...
Number 1, view it. Make sure you view a house before you bid on it at auction. It might be obvious. You wouldn't buy a second-hand car without going to see it, so don't go to the expense of tens of thousands of pounds without viewing a house. We conduct block viewings in the run-up to an auction, and also, any other auction house should do it. If you're going to bid on a property, make sure you have viewed it before you turn up at the auction.
£30,000 there for the first time. Make no mistake.
Secondly, legal packs. All properties sold at auction should have a complete legal pack available for you to do your due diligence to make sure that the property is sound from a legal point of view. So when you viewed it, if you're interested in the property, ask the auctioneer for a copy of the legal pack. When you've got that legal pack, don't just glance over it thinking you know what's in it and what it means. If you're not a qualified solicitor, take it to a solicitor, get them to look over it, cast their eye over it and make sure the property's sound. If you haven't got a solicitor, we can always recommend one to you.
31 in the room for the first time.
Number 3, condition. Have a look at the condition. Don't just glance over the property, but have a good look at the condition of the property. We recommend that if you don't really know much about buildings conditions and buildings and how to renovate and costs and so on, get a builder, a good reputable builder to go with you to give you quotes, or ideally, if you can, get a surveyor to go to the property and give you a full assessment.
All right. Number 34, thank you very much.
Number 4, money. If you viewed a property, you like it, you're going to go to the auction to bid on it. It might sound obvious, but make sure you've got the money, not only for the 10% deposit, but that you can complete within the specified timescale. It might be 14 days, it might be 28 days, but make sure you've got that finance. If you need help, if you need recommendations for brokerages or firms that can provide short-term bridging finance, let us know and we can set you up so that you can rest assured that if you're successful in the auction, you can come up with the money to complete in the specified timescale.
Thank you. You're nice to talk all, and thank you. 5. 6, can I see?
Number 5 is using your common sense. When you view the property, if you think, yeah, this looks like a good sound property, looks cheap, look around the area. What are the other properties like in the area? Maybe even if there are some neighbours around, just stop people and ask them. Find out what sort of an area it is.
11.5, thank you. 12. 12, I've lost you. I've got you then, 11.5.
Number 6 is due diligence, really a continuation of the previous one. So go on to Rightmove, Zoopla, any other portals that you can find out what house prices are like in the area. Talk to local letting agents, talk to estate agents. What are you going to be doing in the house after? Are you going to be letting it out or are you going to be selling it? Make sure you've talked to local agents, letting agents, and you found out what the property would rent for or sell for if you're the successful buyer of it.
Please shout if I can't see it. 16,000 second time.
Number 7 is view more. What I mean by that is, don't just view the 1 or 2 that stand out in the catalogue and look like they're your favourites, because if they're your favourites, you can pretty much guarantee there'll be other people's favourites as well. So view as many as you can in the catalogue, have as many properties in your armoury that you might be able to bid on, because if the properties that you're interested in do prove to be the most popular in the catalogue, do go for very strong prices, you've got other properties then that you can fall back on.
13.5 the second time. 18, back to you, 18, man.
Number 8 is read. An auctioneer will have an auction catalogue or brochure. Make sure you read all the details, all the notes that are in that brochure. So that means turning up to the auction in plenty of time to register. What are the criteria for registering? What documents do you need to bring? How can you pay your deposit? Be amazed how many people turn up to our auctions with debit or credit cards wanting to pay for their deposit. Well, we're just not allowed to take debit or credit cards for deposits by the banks. So make sure you know what's required of you, and all the information that you need should be contained within the auction brochure. If you can't find it, just give the auctioneers a call and they'll happily talk to you about any information that you may need to have clarified.
I think we're connected on both, great stuff.
Number 9 is the bidding. So you're sat in the auction room and the auctioneer is looking for bids. Well, my view is, are there any tactics that you should or should not adopt in the auction? I like to think that when I've bought a property at auction, I've bid clearly, boldly, and I've made a statement saying, this is my house, I'm going to buy it. Other people like to chip away and drop the auctioneer in terms of lower fragments, so going down from £1,000 to 500. This, in my opinion, sends a message out to other bidders that you're nearly up, your game's nearly up, and if they keep bidding a couple more bids, they might get it. I don't know, there are different tactics. But if you are intending to bid, don't try and hold back till the very last moment. At every auction I conduct, the hammer falls at least once or twice during the auction and somebody's bid goes up immediately after. If that hammer's fallen and a hand goes up, I'm afraid that buyer has lost it. Once the hammer falls, contracts at that point have been legally exchanged. The last thing that people always tell you is have a limit and stick to it. As an auctioneer, I'd say have a limit and stick to somewhere near it. Maybe just have 1 or 2 bids extra.
24 drive of you, 20, so what did I say, 23 and a half, thank you, 23 and a half.
And then lastly, number 10, this is probably a golden rule that I think you really should try and remember, and it's probably the best golden rule that you should stick to out of all 10, and that is sit on your hands. If you've come to bid on lots 5, lot 10, lot 15, and you've been unsuccessful with them all, and then lot 25 comes up, I think, well, that looks cheap. I know that area, should be okay. Do you bid for it? No. Sit on your hands. Why? The house may be perfectly fine, but it may be in a condition that is very poor. If you've not inspected it, it may even have issues with the legal documentation. If you've not looked at the property, if you've not inspected the legal pack, do not bid on it. Do not be tempted just so you can go home with the house at the end of the auction. Sit on your hands in that case and wait until the next auction, or at least inquire about 1 or 2 of the unsold lots that there may be at the end of the auction. You can then do your due diligence, as you should do, before committing to purchase the property. So there we go. They're my 10 golden rules for buying at auction. Happy bidding, and I hope to see you at a future sale. Take care.